Right, on Gordon's 1935 Chrysler Airflow, I've done everything to it, but it takes quite a while to start because the compressions are a bit down. He's loaded it up with what we call seafoam to try and get the rings looser or anything. I've got it a lot better than it was.
Yeah.
A lot better by... Oh, check the tappets, that was it. So we've left it. Still takes a bit of a while to start. Realistically, it needs the engine out, stripping and trying to find out what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
Because it's only got about 80 to 90 psi on a compression check.
And what should it be?
I'd expect to see minimum 120.
Okay.
In a really good condition engine, you know, probably a bit higher. But so it's the way, trying to weigh up the cost of taking the engine out of one, stripping it, finding out what's wrong with it, replacing the parts, maybe a rebore, who knows. But the engine is silent, it runs beautifully.
Yeah.
Which and on a compression check, you do it and you keep an eye on the gauge, and if it drops down, you know your your rings are leaking down, yeah?
Yeah.
But it holds compression, you know, be it 85, 90 psi, it doesn't drop down. You can leave it for 5 minutes and it doesn't drop down. So that, in quotes, says it's not leaking back down through the valves and it's not leaking back down through the rings.
Yeah.
So what is wrong with it? So Gordon's train of thought is convert it to 12 volt, so it'll wind it over quicker and hopefully start better.
Okay.
Because a 6 volt car, you go what, you know. So because it's turning it over quicker, because it's all about vacuum draw. As the piston's going down, it draws the air fuel mixture from the carburetor into the bore. So it's obviously taking a long time. Because once it's started, start straight away, run perfectly. It really does run perfectly. So it's an initial draw of vacuum, I think. I've checked all the manifolds for leaking, nothing. Yeah, it's... So converting it to 12 volt is a try and get you out of jail clause, basically.
Just going back to that compression, so what exactly is compression and how does that affect the operation of the engine?
Well, the 4 cycles of an internal combustion engine 4-stroke are suck, squeeze, bang, blow.
Yeah.
So piston comes up, right, it all works. If you started on, say, the induction stroke, yeah, so forget where you started, on the non-firing stroke of the engine, because that's why your spark plugs are timed on the distributor to fire on the ignition stroke, yeah?
Yeah.
So as your piston's coming down, okay, your inlet valve is open, exhaust valve is shut.
Yeah.
Inlet valve's open, that's sucking air fuel mixture in, yeah? So the chamber fills up with air and fuel, okay? Inlet valve shuts. Piston comes back up, squashes, which is your squeeze, all of that compression mixture, spark fires, bang.
Yeah.
Pushes it back down, blow. No, bang.
Bang, yeah.
Then as the piston comes up, exhaust valve starts opening, pushes all the gases out, exhausts the gases out. Exhaust valve shuts, piston comes back down, sucks in air and fuel.
And the compression is the power of that.
Suck, squeeze, compression, bang, sparks, exhaust.
Right.
Yeah.
And if the compression's low,
Low compression, it means it's not drawing, because until an engine's running, your fuel isn't really atomised. Because if you poured just neat petrol in something, it will make a bang, but it'll probably put the spark out.
right?
Because it's just neat liquid. What it needs to be is atomised with air, so the air molecules suspend the mixture,
Okay.
and as it goes up, it makes a more volatile spark. More air and fuel you can get in, which is why you hear a car running funny when you adjust the mixture screw.
Right. Yeah.
That's the volume of air to fuel ratio. So you have to get it about right.
And what's the bad thing about having too high a compression?
again, it'll be hard to start, but in a completely different way.
Right.
You know, you can, one, it does starter motors. Two, you put unnecessary strain on an old engine. Yeah, I mean, the proper drag race cars, or even a highly tuned road car, they won't wind over. My TVR wouldn't wind over. You have to put an extra switch in it. So you wind it over, yeah, and you've got no spark. So it'll wang, 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 it'll turn over fast, then you bosh the ignition switch and it will fire.
Right.
But if you had the ignition on, you try and do it, it just, what they call, it just locks. It'll just go whoop, because it's too much fuel and air in there for it. It can't force its way over the top when it sparks. So you need, it's a happy medium all round. I mean, a straight 8 is very, very highly untuned, you know, it's basic plodder. But the fact that you've got another one next to it, bang, first hit. But you stick your hand over the carb on the 36 and it'll rip the skin off your palm.
Really?
The other one, stick your hand over it, it's just, yeah, it's pulling on it, but it's not yanking it in there like it should do. Yeah. So this is a get out of jail free if we can.
Okay.
So 12 volt is a 64 Mustang. So it's 12 volt, new voltage regulator. The only other thing, the things that won't work, it shouldn't affect the ammeter, because that's measuring amps, not volts.
Yep.
6 volt starter motors are fine to put 12 volts through, it won't damage that. Heat's not done on the electrics at all. Oil pressure isn't done on the electrics at all. The only thing it will affect, obviously you have to change all the light bulbs from 6 volt to 12 volt, and all the fuses. No, fuses should be alright because they work on amps as well. The only thing it will affect is the fuel gauge.
Okay.
It will probably fry the sender unit in the petrol tank. So remove that wire. You can get little 12 to 6 volt voltage droppers. So you just put one of them in line, and then that part of the circuit will still read as 6 volts.
Okay.
So this on a Mustang, sorry, if you're sitting in the car, sits on the right hand side of the engine like that. On that car, we've got to put it on, it sits on the other side.
Okay.
So that rotates that way. No, that way. Engines go that way. So that'll rotate that way. And what you've got to do is when you turn it over, put it on the other side, engine rotates that way, so it's still rotating the same way.
Yeah.
So that's not an issue. The wires will be tucked in down underneath, which again isn't an issue. I can't remember whether that's positive or negative earth, but you call what you do what is called polarizing your voltage regulator. Yeah. So you bolt everything up, wire it all up, but you leave that wire off, the field coil wire. Okay. And then all you do, doesn't matter what it is, positive or negative earth, you've wired it all in. Before you start the car or do anything, turn the ignition on and just touch that field wire, don't ever connect it first, onto the battery for just chink, split second, and that polarizes the system to positive or negative earth.
Yeah.
So that's just a straight swap. This has got field coil, generator, and there's another pickup there. So I've got to look at a wiring diagram for this to work out, because I'm pretty sure that one in there is only 2 wire. Should we go and have a look?
Yeah.
Right, so there's your voltage regulator, look. Okay, so that's your 6 volt voltage regulator, which we've got to swap out for the blue one. So you have got, that'll be battery, I would imagine, coming from the loom. That is earth, no, that's earth. And that'll be your generator and your field. They've all got them written on them, so you can't mess that up. 2 wires on the generator there. All I've got to do, see that 3rd wire on the other one, you might not need to run it, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've just got to look at a wiring diagram and see how it works. But basically it's just a straight swap over, so get that one out, put the fan and cog off the front of that, just drive pulley off of that onto that one, wire all this lot back up, and that should be it, bingo bango. That's upside down. Might have to make brackets for it, I'm not sure. Right, let's go and check on that again, because it might be the wrong way round. We want to hang from the bottom on the other side of the engine. So it'll be like that. So that's still rotating the same way. So that should work. Right, and let's take that back next door and see what, if anything, is going to line up with what's there, yeah?
Okay.
Right. Okay. That's not bad. I'll go and see which way that was lined up. But what you've got to do as well is get that off. It can be a lot easier said than done sometimes, because it's not just the correlation of where that bolts to the car.
Yeah.
You've got to make sure your snout length is right. And your discrepancy between that and that, you just got to make some sort of spacer up.
That's how you get your steps in every day, isn't it?
I do. I don't know how many steps I do. Do? You spend time doing that with a puller, right? If you didn't use that and you tried to pry that off, you would just muller that f***ing thing to pieces.
Oh yeah.
So, alright, it takes a bit of time, but...
Well worth it.
See, these might not be the same size armatures, I might have to machine a mill of that out, all sorts of stuff yet, I don't know. Dread to think how old this puller is, it's had some use, I know that.
Old school tool.
Yeah. It's going to be bigger, isn't it? Just to be annoying.
You know it.
Oh. Don't know. Chisel.
There's me wondering, how do you end up with every tool out of the box?
Yeah. Yeah, it's always a way, mate. Doesn't matter where you put your toolbox. Doesn't matter, you might as well put it over there. Broke the end of my screwdriver off, the bastard.
It's just a woodruff key.
Yeah, it's always the way. Make sure that fits first.
So woodruff key, is that just like a locking pin?
Yeah, the rotational locking pin. So you've got a curved scallop in there, curved side on that,
Yep.
and that just lets it rock. So it should feed its way in. But like I say, that one's wider, but once it's all locked down, it ain't going to make any difference at all.
Yeah.
Let's just check the height on it. I think he's a winner, chicken dinner. Well, that was easier than I thought it would be, to be fair. Well, I don't think that's probably that far out in overall. So what you've got to do now is hang that on its front bolt.
Yeah.
And see where your spacing is on the fan belt.
Yeah.
To the other pulleys, because if that's miles out, then there's nothing you can do apart from remake your bottom bracket.
Yeah.
So we're going to hang that in there, just have a quick looky see. Okay. She lines up pretty well, which I'm gobsmacked at. It looks a bit skewy because the holes in the new generator are bigger than the holes that the bolts go through the bracket.
Okay.
So I've just got to make a few little spaces up to go in there, but that should work.
Not as painful as you thought then?
No, I mean, these things like this can take forever messing about, do you know what I mean? But it's not too bad at all. Basically now I've got to machine some bits, find some spacers, whichever way the wind blows, yeah?
Yeah.
But realistically that one, because it's just a narrow plate, it doesn't really matter. It'll hold square on that one because it's got a nice wide flange.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of finding a spacer for that now.